One of Sister Wives' most poignant episodes of the season is about to air. Meri Brown breaks down in a recently made public preview video. She details a heated argument over the family's Kody Pass property sale in it. Her perspective on the issue raises questions about confidentiality and a dispute that went far beyond papers. Although viewers have been following the land drama for years, this latest revelation gives the issue a fresh angle. Significant issues concerning the nature of the negotiations and who was advocating for what behind the scenes are brought up by the preview. What was it Meri was asked to sign? And why was there such an intense reaction to the request? To learn more, continue reading. Since 2018, the Browns have been involved in the Kody Pass land dispute. In an effort to maintain tight ties with their blended family, the reality family relocated to Flagstaff with plans to construct a joint compound. The family had trouble deciding how to split the land from the beginning. Meri's frustrations grew as she didn't like the plot she was given. Later, in 2022, Christine sold her share back to Kody and left the marriage. Robyn was the sole surviving wife after Meri and Janelle left the plural union. Later, Janelle revealed that she believed Kody wasn't treating the process fairly and had misgivings about his motivations during the sale talks. However, this story is about to come to a head when the site was ultimately sold for $1.5 million in real life. Meri's explanation of the situation surrounding Kody Pass in the most recent Sister Wives teaser depicts a stressful scene. As she talks about Kody requesting her to sign a confidentiality agreement during the sale, she starts to cry. She said he accused her of being the issue and blamed her for holding down the process. Meri asked tearfully why secrecy was suddenly required and why he wanted to silence her. Then, in another confessional, Kody gave his side. According to Kody, Janelle forced him to either respect Meri's desires or proceed without her. In order to sell the farm without Meri and Christine's approval, he even acknowledged thinking about making a backdoor agreement with Janelle. Robyn told him that unless the arrangement was perfectly fair, she would not take part. Refusing to allow the transaction to go through on those circumstances, she referred to herself as the big fat rock in the way. Janelle went on to explain that although she didn't think it was the correct decision, Kody technically could have pushed the sale. Kody remembered Robyn approaching him and inquiring about the whereabouts of the giving man she had once liked. Her remarks caused him to examine his actions and assert that he needed to develop into a better man. Meri softly said no when the director questioned if signing the agreement would have stopped her from speaking out if the property had been sold without her. She then sobbed, stating that the idea that the family she had once trusted would treat her in such a manner, *kicking breaks my heart. Fans of Sister Wives have been watching Kody Brown's once idealized poly family fall apart for years, but nothing has captivated viewers more than the conflict between Kody and Meri, his first wife. Once regarded as the emotional foundation of the Brown home, their relationship has degenerated into something icy, aloof, and hardly distinguishable. Recent rumors and purported behind-the-scenes discussions suggest that Kody may be going one step further and asking Meri to sign a secrecy agreement. This action sent shockwaves through the Sister Wives fandom right away. Why now? What is he attempting to safeguard? More significantly, what does he think Meri might disclose? History, heartache, distrust, and Kody's increasing desperate attempt to steer the course of a family that has already broken irreparably are all interwoven throughout the plot. This is a thorough examination of the reasons why Kody would be attempting to permanently silence Meri. The breakdown of a union years of development. Kody and Meri had already begun to drift apart long before the catfishing controversy, long before Christine's abrupt departure, and even before Janelle and Kody's breakup became the emotional focal point of the more recent seasons. Miscommunication, emotional distance, and animosity characterized their marriage, which had silently crumbled under its own weight. As Kody frequently stated that they were no longer in a romantic relationship, fans watched Meri struggle for scraps of affection over the years. He referred to their relationship as more of a friendship and subsequently acknowledged that he had no desire to mend what had been damaged. However, there was much more going on behind those scenes, a history of secrets in the Brown family. If Kody is afraid of anything, it is the revelation of those secrets. Why would Kody seek a confidentiality agreement right now? For years, there have been rumors among those involved in the production of the show that Meri is the most knowledgeable about the early history of the Brown family than any of the other wives. As the first wife, the legal wife, and the one who arranged a number of subsequent weddings, including Robyn's, she was there from the beginning. The fear? Some say the panic. is that Meri might finally feel comfortable enough to talk freely now that the family is broken up and each wife is leading her own life. For a number of plausible reasons, Kody might want her to be legally obligated to keep quiet. 1. Preserving the tradition of polygamy. There are many tales from the Brown family's early years that might not be good for Kody. There have long been rumors of power disparities, emotional manipulation, financial dependence, and internal conflicts. Meri was a witness as well as a wife. The timeline and story that Kody still wishes to share with the world, one in which he is the misunderstood patriarch rather than the reason behind the breakdown of the family, might be safeguarded by a confidentiality agreement. 2. Fear of financial matter exposure. The first legal spouse was Meri. Many fans are unaware of the paperwork, documentation, and family logistics she managed. Questions have constantly been raised regarding the spouse's financial distribution, the amount invested in different houses, and if funds were allocated unfairly, particularly to Robyn's household. Meri participated in such discussions. She has both physically and figuratively seen the receipts. Kody's reputation might suffer greatly if she ever decided to make the information public. 3. Preserving his connection to Robyn. The only wife still living with Kody is Robyn. Since their connection is seen as the one that eventually led to the collapse of the plural marriage system, it is closely examined. Fans accuse Meri of manipulation, partiality, or actions that portray Robyn and Kody as a single unit against the other wives whenever she divulges even a minor detail. Robyn and Kody would both be protected by a confidentiality agreement. Meri's silence has been somewhat broken already. Meri has started to be more open in recent seasons. She hasn't disclosed any significant family secrets, but she has never been more genuine, honest, or emotionally open. She implied that behind the scenes, her marriage was far worse than what the public witnessed. She acknowledged that Kody withdrew well in advance of the formal split. She admitted that every time she tried to get back in touch, she was turned down. Meri has yet to do so, though. She hasn't launched a tell-all campaign as some had anticipated. She hasn't openly disparaged the family. She hasn't revealed everyone's secrets on social media. Many people think Kody is anxious because of her constraint. He is aware that the spotlight would drastically change if she spoke openly and completely. The potential significance of a confidentiality agreement for TLC, though not to the extent of completely protecting them. The network has always stood up for its stars. TLC feeds on scandal, drama, and emotional tension, all of which might be directly restricted by a confidentiality agreement. TLC may find itself in a difficult situation if Kody is insisting that Meri keep quiet. First possible. TLC is not involved. It's possible that Kody is making this request alone, without assistance from the network. He might be worried that Meri might leave the family brand and start talking to other media. Option 2. TLC desires consistency for upcoming seasons. A spin-off about Meri or several ex-wives starting new lives might be in the works. However, TLC might want everyone to sign a contract to safeguard their brand if the legal dangers are too great. Potential 3. The network is seeking to regulate information release. A well-managed plot is worth more than an untidy controversy. Information might only be revealed if TLC decides to record it on screen, according to a non-disclosure agreement. What would Meri do? Meri has experienced a significant change in herself. After decades of feeling diminished within the marriage, she traveled, opened a bed and breakfast, made her own friends, and rebuilt her emotional self. Several things would determine how she would respond if she were approached to sign a confidentiality agreement. She wants to be free married, doesn't need another contract tying her to Kody after years of emotional misery. Her career prospects. Meri is beginning to establish her own platform, voice, and brand. Signing a document that restricts what she can talk about could hinder her development. Her devotion to the family. Meri has always had a strong affection for the Brown kids, despite all the betrayal. Even if it means keeping quiet about Kody, she might refrain from disclosing facts that might offend them. Her internal conflict between protection and truth, she feels compelled to share her story. Another part is afraid of the consequences. Because of this, her choice is quite difficult. What would make Kody believe that this would work? Kody has always performed best when he is in charge. Every time he sensed his power eroding during the series, he tried to bolster his position by changing the story, placing the blame elsewhere, or mobilizing support. What Kody doesn't understand, though, is that Meri has changed since being married at the age of 19. She has endured emotional abandonment, loneliness, public humiliation, and grief. Truth, not obedience, is now the source of her strength. Her newfound independence may determine whether she signs anything at all. What do fans have to say? Social media was instantly ablaze with conjecture from viewers. Many people think that Kody is terrified by Meri's version of events. Others believe he is making every effort to keep Robyn safe. Some admirers believe Kody only wants to keep up a tidy image for potential new projects or future business partnerships. After decades of emotional maltreatment, Meri has every right to speak her truth, according to several followers who voiced frustration. Many people think that everything would change if Meri ever wrote a book or did an in-depth interview. Kody's desperate attempt to steer the story becomes increasingly obvious as the Brown family begins to fall apart. The ultimate attempt to quiet a voice he once eclipsed would be to get Meri to sign a confidentiality agreement. However, Meri has changed as a person. She is more powerful. She has more freedom. She is prepared to take back who she is. One thing is certain, regardless of whether she signs anything, Meri Brown's truth is coming, slowly, steadily, and powerfully. Furthermore, no contract might be powerful enough to prevent it.